Hey everyone, this is a brief guide on how to install the Kraken X62. What you're going to be needing for this is a static vest and any combination of screwdrivers you deem fit. So this is what's inside your Kraken case. You're going to have two 140mm fans. You're going to also have your AMD and Intel brackets that go behind your motherboard with the screws that come with it. You're also going to have a USB and daisy chain link for your fans. This is the radiator, here's the hose, and there's the pump. Before you go ahead and take apart your computer, you're first going to want to check the tubes and the pipes, the radiator and the pump, to make sure there's no leaks or anything wrong with the unit. So what you're going to want to do is take apart your case, the side panels and the top, and it's going to vary case by case, and you're going to want to figure out where you want to put your radiator, whether that being in front or on top or however else you want to put it. The next thing you want to do is grab your anti-static vest and cling it to anything metal on your case. Now that you and your case are grounded, there's less chance of shock, so now let's go from there to the GPU. Next, you want to disconnect any cables connected to your GPU, and you're also going to want to come over here and unscrew these screws. Your PCI X16 slots are going to have a little guard that you're going to have to click. It's the thing at the very end. What you're going to want to look for is that it's pressed down. So go to your GPU and press it down. You should be able to easily take out your graphics card now. With your graphics card now out of your case, what you're going to do now is remove all plugs connected to your motherboard. That includes your SATA cables, your USB, your 20, your CPU, and your 10. The next thing to take out is the Intel stock CPU. And what you're going to want to do is go to the four corners where the pins are. You're going to see a line that's faced inward. Just twist it so it's faced away from the heatsink. You're going to do that to all four corners. After you twist, all you have to do is pull up on each of the four corners and the heat sinks just pop off by itself. With your GPU and heatsink gone, what you're going to want to do now is remove the thermal paste that's already on your CPU. What I used is coffee cup filters and 50% isopropyl alcohol. You can find both these things relatively cheap at the 99-cent store. You're going to pour a little isopropyl alcohol on the coffee cup filter, and then you're going to go down and just swipe down on your CPU. And now your CPU should be shiny and new. Now that you've cleaned your CPU, what you're going to do is grab a screwdriver and disconnect the 9 screws located throughout your motherboard. After you unscrewed your 9 screws, what you're going to do is take out the motherboard by sliding to the right and towards you. Next, we're going to go take a look at what's inside the bag. So we know we have this AMD bracket that we don't need, so we could just toss it to the side. We also have the Intel backplate we're going to be needing. We also get long screws with washers. And finally, we have the mounting screws for the bracket itself. There should be a total of 16 washers and 16 screws. For my configuration, I've decided I'm going to mount the radiator on top and fans on bottom. So I'm going to help guide this pump through this opening here and making sure the cap is still on. With your radiator in position, what you're going to do is take your fans and screw in the 4 holes located here. So here we have NZXT's 140mm fan with a 4-pin connector. What you're going to want to keep in mind with the fan is cable management and direction of airflow. My air is going to flow out this way and out through the top through my radiator, so my cables need to be underneath so I can give myself good cable management and airflow. With case fans, it's easy to tell the direction of airflow because you could look at the blades. You can see in this one that they're going to flow that way. Another easy indicator is to look at the back and look for the sticker. That's generally the way that the air is going to blow out. With the correct orientation, we've mounted the fan and the radiator together, making sure that the cable is facing the back of the case. Once you place one fan, you can place the other one right next to it. Just a tip for you guys, you're going to want to screw these in a cross shape so that they are even and won't have any deviation of airflow. So one here, one there, one here, one there, just like a cross. Now that our fans are installed, we can install the backplate to the motherboard. You're going to take your backplate and you're going to line up the prongs on the backplate with the holes in the motherboard. This is what it looks like when you have everything attached. The prongs are adjustable and you'll see that it's one rectangular shape in one way. These are the screws that are going to screw in the prongs to your motherboard. On the right we have the 2011 chipsets, and on the left we have the 1150s chipsets. That includes the 55 and the 56. Once you figure out which screw matches your chipset, you're going to screw in the 4 corners where the prongs are showing. After you screw in the prongs, you're going to screw your motherboard back on your case. You're going to screw in the 9 screws that go from your case to your motherboard. You're also going to reconnect all the cables back onto your motherboard. Your processor is going to have 4 screws sticking up from it, and that's where you're going to attach the pump later. After you plug everything back in, you're going to want to install the GPU and any other accessories you have in your PCI lanes. Once everything's attached, it's time to finally install the pump to the CPU. I recommend installing your cables first for good cable management. On the left we have our daisy chain, and on the right we have the USB cable. I'm going to feed all my wires and connectors through the top left corner of the motherboard to allow for good airflow. Pro tip: if you want the NZXT logo to be flat, the sticker actually has the correct orientation of the NZXT logo, so keep that in mind when orienting your pump. As far as thermal paste goes, I've decided to use MX4, but you could use the stock thermal paste that's located on the pump. Whichever way you choose, please remember to take off the plastic cover from the pump. After you've oriented your pump and have put all the wires in, you're going to place the lug nuts in to tighten the pump. When tightening, remember to follow the cross rotation. Now that you got your pump installed, the only thing left to do is to do some wire management and wiring. This specific wire may look confusing at first, but it's the exact same wire your hard drive and SD card use to give them power. With my radiator design, I decided to go with 2 140 LEDs on top. This gives me 4 fans in total for my radiator, 2 on bottom pushing up and 2 on top pulling out. Another pro tip: if you have an outside controller that you want to control the fan speeds, connect the fans to that. If not, connect the fans to the daisy chain, and the cam software will control the speeds at which the fan go on the radiator. Once you've plugged in all your fans, there's one last cable you have to plug in. On the daisy chain link, there is a CPU fan cable that you're going to have to plug in to CPU fan slot 1. The next thing you're going to do is plug in the USB cable to an open slot on your motherboard. If you don't have one, I recommend NZXT's USB hub. It'll give you 4 places to put USBs in. Last but not least, remove the sticker off the pump. This is what it should look like on boot. Everything will be white. As you can see, the pump is on and flashing and spinning, meaning it's working. The top fans are spinning, meaning they're working, and the bottom fans are spinning, meaning they're working too. What you're going to want to do is go on your computer from here and go to NZXT's website and install the cam software so you can change the light and have RGB gasms. Once you get cam up and booting, everything should be the color you want. This is how I've arranged my setup. If you have any questions, please leave a comment and I'll get to it as fast as I can. Thanks.